And then there was a catch that wasn't. And then there was a catch that was. But in between, there was plenty of nothing. But by now, Zack Greinke should be used to that. 6 more shutout innings, no more runs of support. And even though at 1.70, Greinke has the lowest ERA in Major League Baseball, it's been 9 starts and 50 days since he last won a game. Excluding Sunday's 10 runs against the Giants, the Dodgers have averaged 2 runs and 6 hits per game over the past week. Tonight, the first-place Dodgers hope to reignite their recently dormant offense. It's a beautiful night for baseball, and live from Wrigley Field in Chicago, Sportsnet LA presents the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Chicago Cubs in Game 3 of this 4-game series. Hi again, everybody. Charlie Steiner, Nomar Garciaparra, and Oral Hershiser. As we mentioned, the Dodger offense has really been struggling. Some alterations in the lineup tonight. Howie Kendrick not starting. Kike Hernandez will lead off, and Yasiel Puig will bat 5th.
Listen, Don Mattingly's trying to do anything he can to get this offense going, to spark something. I'm sure the guys are doing something different. Maybe it's a green rally banana now. Maybe it's something else. Maybe they're changing their socks or their cleats. But despite that, what have the struggles really been? Well, runners in scoring position. They are Major League last and over the last 9 games at a 167. But what can get an offense going? It's really those 2-out RBIs. With runners in scoring position and 2 outs, the Dodgers are batting just 100 over the last 9 games, and that was last Friday since they last had one. That can boost an offense. Could it also boost the pitching staff?
Well, it could, and Mike Bolsinger is looking to return to form just like this offense. It's been a windfall, an unexpected windfall to have him in the 3, 4, or 5 hole, and I'll tell you, he was 3-1 with an ERA just over a tick of 1. But now in the last 4 starts, he needs to get back on track because his ERA has been over 5. And I look at Mike Bolsinger as a guy that needs to go out there and throw a lot of strikes, early in the count, get on top. He likes to pitch backwards, but I think more fastballs are necessary because the league is starting to make some adjustments to his off-speed stuff. He returns to the Windy City where he got his first big league win, so he should have some good vibes on this field.
These two teams have been having at it since 1890, and this is the 2069th game between the Dodgers and the Cubs. Lineups and first pitch are coming up next. tonight, and how soon, that's the only question. So it's the Dodgers and the Cubs in the third game of this 4-game series, and our closed captioning is brought to you by Wiener Schnitzel. They're fun since '61. Now the Honda starting lineup just changed by Don Mattingly not but 5 minutes ago. The big change is in right field. Andre Ethier moves from left to right. Alex Guerrero is inserted. As you see, Guerrero will be batting fifth. Yasiel Puig, a last-minute scratch. So it's Hernandez at second base, Peterson and Turner. Then Gonzalez, Guerrero, and Ethier. Yasmani Grandal, Jimmy Rollins, and Mike Bolsinger facing 25-year-old Kyle Hendricks.
Well, Kyle Hendricks comes at you. It's not very overpowering. His fastball averages about 88 miles an hour. But what is unique about Kyle Hendricks is his changeup. His changeup has a tailing action to it, and it also has a cutting action to it. So he uses both quite often and quite effectively. And the key for him is his command. He likes to pitch on those corners.
It's really interesting to know that Yasiel Puig just scratched, and he's holding up his hand, so maybe telling a few teammates why he's not in there. It looked like the palm of his hand that he cut here in the first game. Remember, he had to switch from one glove to another, something that was big enough for that, so he's a late scratch.
Indeed. So the blister apparently on that hand has become too much of an issue, and Puig is sitting it out. Meanwhile, back to Hendricks. Came over from Texas in a deal way back in 2012 that sent Ryan Dempster down there. And so now the 25-year-old Hendricks out of Newport Beach and lives in San Juan Capistrano is getting his chance at the big time. This is his 14th start, a record of 2-3 and an ERA of 4.25. And so here's Kike Hernandez leading it off. Of course, Howie Kendrick has been struggling, especially on the road, and so Hernandez on the first pitch takes a strike at the knees, and it's 0-1. The Dodgers have scored 2 runs or fewer in 21 of their last 37 games. So they're trying to shake things up a little bit as Hendricks misses outside, and it's 1-1. Peterson and Turner to follow. For the Dodgers, this is game 27 in a span in which they're playing 34 games in 34 days. So far in the 27 games, this is the 27th. 11-15. They've lost 7 of 9, 8 of 10, but they still maintain a 1-game lead on the Giants in the West. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Kike Hernandez.
Interesting for the Dodgers, a lineup that has struggled to score runs going against somebody who's kind of a soft tosser at the big league level, 89 miles an hour, and then the changeup being the best pitch.
Grounded foul.
There's that changeup right there. He left that one up. Kike way out in front, but that was a very hittable pitch.
Kike Hernandez making his 6th start of the year at second base and his 2nd time as a leadoff hitter. Just underway. Look at that foul. Well, that's what goes on when there's an individual slump and a team slump.
Well, it sounded like Kike might have got this off the end of the bat because it was kind of a soft liner back at the first baseman. It was a changeup. Once again, he looked like he doubled up on that changeup, and the timing was off just a hair for Kike Hernandez.
So we're underway, and Jock Peterson coming up.
It's going to be a different look for the right-handed hitters to have a right-handed pitcher throwing a changeup. It's kind of a rarity at the big league level.
Peterson this year, in more than 50% of his at-bats, he either hits a home run, strikes out, or walks. There's a call strike, 0-1. Last night, 4 at-bats, struck out twice. On Monday night, strikeout, walk, and a home run. And there's a strike. 0-2.
So in this series, he's on par for those numbers.
Yeah. Sunday against the Giants, strikeout, walk, a triple.
You play stickball against your best friend in the neighborhood, and there's only 2 guys playing. He's the perfect stickball player. You don't need a big field.
Saturday, a home run, 2 walks, and a strikeout. 2 out and nobody on. Defensively behind Hendricks tonight. Chris Coughlin in left field. Matt Caesar in center, and Chris Denorfia, the winning sac fly last night. Bryant at third, Castro at short, Addison Russell is at second base, Anthony Rizzo at first, and Miguel Montero is behind the plate. Justin Turner coming up. Turner had the night off last night. What the Dodgers are trying to do with Turner is play him maybe 3 games in a row and then a day off. Basically 5 out of 7 days they'd like to see him play, and a couple of days just to maintain his health over the long course of the season. Turner at 3 1/4. And it's 2 balls and no strikes. Giants and Padres again tonight in San Francisco. Turner takes 3 0. Adrian Gonzalez is on deck. The road has not been a friendly place for the Dodgers this year. It's 3 1. They have scored 2 runs or fewer in 16 of their 32 road games. 12 and 20 away from Dodger Stadium. Turner to right, and Denorfia is right there. Dodgers go in order. Mike Bolsinger getting ready for his 10th start of the season. It was here at Wrigley Field where he had his first major league win a year ago. Ready to be dazzled during the Disneyland Resort Diamond Celebration, happening now with spectacular new entertainment and more. Joe Maddon in his first year with the Cubs, and the Cubs at 39 and 30. They haven't been 10 games over 500 as a team since 2008. So he's done quite a job, and here's his Honda lineup tonight. Beginning with Denorfia, had the walk-off sac fly last night. Rizzo and Bryant, Montero. Castro at short. Coughlin in left. Caesar in center. The pitcher once again batting 8th. That happens all the time now with Joe Maddon's club. Addison Russell will bat 9th. So here is Denorfia facing Mike Bolsinger, making his 10th start.
And Mike's looking for some confidence, but not really out of the windup, more out of the stretch in the last few outings.
Missing high and away, 1 ball, no strike.
In the last 4 starts where he struggled, the batters are batting .216 when he's pitching out of the windup. But when he has men on, pitching from the stretch, they're hitting .353.
A strike, 1-1 to Chris Denorfia. Denorfia at .313, 20 for 64. He's battled injury problems this year. Reds, Padres, now the Cubs.
I'm just thinking right now, with all the flamethrowers we see in Major League Baseball right now, Not too often do you see two starters that average below 90 miles an hour on the hill.
One changeup specialist, one curveball specialist.
Right.
Just missing outside with an 80-mile-an-hour breaking ball.
So Bolsinger's 80-mile-an-hour curveball there, the same speed as Hendricks' changeup.
2-2, Denorfia leading it off for the Cubs.
The thing that has burned Mike Bolsinger is that sometimes he's thrown his curveballs out of order, where he's thrown the hanger and then he goes to try and fix it and he throws another hanger.
Change up, and Denorfia down on strikes. Defensively for the Dodgers tonight, Justin Turner is at third base. Jimmy Rollins at short. Kike Hernandez giving Howie Kendrick the night off at second base. Gonzalez at first. Alexander Guerrero, last minute insertion in left. Ethier was going to start in left. He moves to right. Puig has a bad hand. Peterson in center. Grandal behind the plate. So now here is Anthony Rizzo. He's become a big star in Chicago. Red hot lately, 15 home runs and 43 runs batted in on the year. And that passes for a fastball for a strike, and it's 0-1. Bolsinger will rarely break 90.
Nomar, even though he barely breaks 90 when he's pitching at 80 with the curveball and then can get it to 88, is there still enough change of speed?
There is. And like you know, as a pitcher, it's all about the command. If you're able to hit that spot right there, it doesn't matter that it's 87, 88. It's still a tough pitch to hit.
It doesn't seem like Rizzo, if he can hit that inside corner and keep that ball fair.
That's what's difficult about that.
1-2, 1 out, first inning, no score. And Bolsinger strikes out Rizzo. 2 out.
Mike Bolsinger throws predominantly breaking balls. So if you add the curveballs and the sliders up, you get up to 52% approximately, and you can see the fastball's at 46%. So when you say somebody is pitches backwards, what he does is he usually shows his fastball to really set up the breaking ball. He doesn't really like to show the fastball for strikes, only if he can hit the edges.
The Cubs strike out more than any other team in the league. In short right field, Gonzalez retreats, and a 1-2-3 inning for Mike Bolsinger. When we come back for the second, it'll be Gonzalez, Guerrero, and Ethier to bat for the Dodgers. Field home. It was actually built 2 years prior to the Cubs, originally known as Weigman Park. And the Chicago club played in the old Federal League, and the Federal League went belly up. The Cubs moved in, and they've been here ever since. Of course, some off-season renovations, message boards in left field and right. You do not call them scoreboards. There is but one scoreboard, the venerable one in straightaway center. Adrian Gonzalez leading it off. Taking outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Adrian mired in quite a slump. 8 for his last 61. That's a 131 clip. Tonight we'll be taking a look at where the Dodgers were on May the 12th. That was their high water mark when they were 22-10. The last 40 games have been a struggle, yet they maintain their hold on first place. Gonzalez in his last 9 games, a home run and 2 runs batted in. So Mattingly's fellas, where they've struggled on the road, this is game 3 of a 10-game trip.
When you're Adrian Gonzalez, if you have a big night, you're going to have a lot of reporters around your locker. When the team is struggling offensively and for a long period of time, you're going to have a lot of reporters around your locker. And Adrian is handling it very well right now.
Into center field. That's well hit, and that one is gone. A home run over the netting and into the stands. The bleacher bums get one for Gonzalez, his 13th home run of the year, and the Dodgers take a 1-0 lead.
Adrian Gonzalez does a good job. Watch him where he makes contact with the ball in relation to his body. It's the middle of his body, which allows him to have the power to drive it to the opposite field. He waits on that ball, puts on a pretty swing, and he had a few days ago he had a big game as well, and we're like, okay, is he possibly coming out of that slump you were talking about, Charlie? Well, that's definitely a good start right there, and that's one of those you want to put in your memory bank and try to repeat on a consistent basis.
Talking with Mark McGuire, knows a thing or two about home runs. Gonzalez had 3 hits, including a home run in the Sunday 10-2 rout over the Giants. And there's Kike Hernandez. Alex Guerrero inserted into the lineup about 5 minutes before game time. Fouls it off to the left. 2 balls and a strike. Yasiel Puig, apparently the hand issue is too much, so he was sat down tonight. Guerrero starting in left, and Ethier, who was in left, starting in right. Andre is on deck. The Gonzalez home runs giving the Dodgers the early lead. Backhanded at short. Starlin Castro beats Guerrero by a step. Time to take a look at our Coors Light cold hard facts of the night. We're talking about May 12th when the Dodgers were sitting pretty. Since then, their batting average has fallen off 30 points. They're scoring 2 runs per game less. The bullpen ERA has been an issue. So the Dodgers looking to right their ship. And this is game 73 for Don Mattingly's club. 27-13 at home, 12-20 on the road. Gonzalez has given the Dodgers the early lead, and Andre Ethier, who too has been struggling of late, takes a ball. Ethier in his last 9 games, 091. And he rolls one to second base. Addison Russell throws him out easily.
Usually when a team is just playing average, not in a big slump, there's some part of the team that is functioning well, and starting pitching has been doing pretty well for the Dodgers, but in pretty much every other category, the bullpen and the offense, the defense has been solid, but there just has not been enough runs. And in the close games, when the bullpen falters, that leads to a loss also.
Defense has been solid all year. The Dodgers have made only 29 errors, and rarely do Kershaw and Greinke lose on consecutive starts. But that was the case the first 2 of the series. Grandal with a ground ball to first, and the backhanded stab by Rizzo. But Adrian Gonzalez, with his 13th home run of the year, has given the Dodgers at Bolsinger a 1-0 lead.
Our way to the bottom of the second inning. He was born here in Chicago, currently resides in Texas, but considers Chicago his home. Picked up his first Major League Baseball win here at this park on April 24th of last year as a member of the Diamondbacks. It was the only win of the season for him. That was on April 24th, guys, and that was the game after they celebrated 100 years here at Wrigley Field. And his dad told him when he picked up the win that he was about to start the next 100 years of bad luck for the Cubs.
Speaking of 100 years, as Miguel Montero leads off, the great Hall of Fame play-by-play broadcaster Jack Brickhouse, who predated Harry Carey, asked Harry or Jack years ago, as Montero fouls it into the dirt, said, how was it you were able to come to the ballpark day in, day out, year in, year out, never winning a thing? And he said, anybody can have a bad century. And the Cubs, up until about now, were working on a second one. I'm talking with Billy Williams today as Montero goes down on strikes, and Bolsinger has struck out the first three of the first four batters he's faced tonight.
Breaking ball right here, going back door. They don't want that for a strike. Yasmani telling that with that target way away.
So Billy Williams, who came up alongside Ron Santo, 59-60, and he has seen nothing but losing, is now legitimately excited about this Cub team that is clearly heading in the right direction. And one of their young stars, Soler, is sidelined with a bad ankle. And so the Cubs have visions of a postseason dancing in their heads. If not this year, then certainly in the not too distant future. Castro takes outside. You know, you have to have great corners in football. Well, the Cubs have great corners. Bryant at third, Rizzo at first, and the folks in Chicago are beginning to compare those two to Ron Santo and Billy Williams.
Ron Santo, 9-time All-Star, 5 consecutive Gold Gloves, Hall of Famer in 2012.
And the heart and soul of this Cub team when he played, and then of course when he broadcast. The Cubs are a hard team not to like, just because of their history, this wonderful ballpark, the neighborhood in which they play, the people and personalities that they've had over the years. And there's Joe Madden leading the charges. Been 7 years since they've been 10 games over 500. Should they win tonight, they'll do something they haven't done in a decade, be 10 over. Hernandez with a hit.
They say they're hard not to like. Well, that's because you're probably thinking you want all the people's jobs, because nobody works here. They're here always filling the stands during day games. As we have a look where that hits Bolsinger, I don't know if it just might have grazed him a little bit.
So Castro with the hit. Hernandez knocks it down. So the infield hit for Castro. And here is Chris Coghlan. Pitch outside. 1 ball, no strikes.
Oral, this is the time you were talking about at the beginning of the game about Bolsinger, where he really needs to buckle down here, gets a guy on from the stretch. I thought this was a big inning starting this inning, that shutdown inning, especially when you have a struggling offense. Try to get in there as quick as you can.
Yeah, 353 from the stretch over the last 4 starts, only 216 from the windup. So he needs to find better execution, more consistent execution in the stretch.
I mean, for a pitcher who struggles like that or is not feeling it, is that more your side work, working more from the stretch and even before the game as well?
Well, he has a very complicated windup as far as his leg kick is concerned, and getting it back under his front hip to get him to leverage the ball. And so when he has to be a little quicker from the stretch, he doesn't get to use his normal leg kick. I think it throws off a little bit of his timing. And so I know it's something he's working on to get more consistent and to really feel comfortable with the leg kick he uses from the stretch.
Bolsinger in 53 innings this year has struck out 49 and walked 20. He's behind Coghlan 3-1. Matt Caesar on deck, and that hurts.
When you're in the minor leagues, or you're that 4A player that fluctuates between the big leagues and AAA, you can pitch well in AAA with average to inefficient mechanics at times, just because you're just better. And the guys down there, the lineups aren't as deep, and if you have a problem executing at times, you can just pitch your way out of it because you don't have to face 9 real big league hitters. But up here, that difference in execution, even though it's so slight percentage wise, it catches up with you.
Let's see if Castro goes. He's stolen 4 out of 7. Grandal has thrown out 9 of 36. He's not. Into center field, and Jock Peterson tracks it down.
What a great first step right there. I mean, that ball's scorched, and all of a sudden I look up and he is right there on a move, like routine.
The first thing, he was positioned properly. That's what got it. But this was hit very well, and we say it time and time again. He makes it look way too easy.
So with 2 out, Yasmani Grandal having a meeting, albeit briefly, with Mike Bolsinger. The first 2 years of Nolan Arenado's career, his rookie year, he won the Gold Glove, and Dodger fans were outraged, thinking Uribe should have won. Well, we've come to learn that Arenado's as good as there is defensively. There is no reason why that Jock Peterson cannot be considered as a legitimate Gold Glove candidate this year in his rookie season. Matt Caesar is 8 out of 43.
Yes, he moves up the All-Star voting over the last 2-3 weeks. He went from 11th, now he's 6th place, Jock Peterson. I'll tell you, a lot of it's coming from the defensive highlights that the voters are coming out for him, because the bat has kind of cooled off during that time.
To second base, and Kike Hernandez will throw out Caesar, and Bolsinger gives up a hit and nothing else. When we come back for the third, Rollins, Bolsinger, and Kike Hernandez will hit, and Jock Peterson will be the 4th hitter. July 8th when the Dodgers host the Phillies and receive your very own Hello Kitty plush presented by Time Warner Cable. For more information, go to Dodgers.com/promotions. A humid night, chance of rain before long. What else is new this time of year? Here in Chicago. Day game tomorrow, and then the Dodgers head down to Florida for the weekend. Jimmy Rollins at 2:07, and the shift is employed against him. It is 1 ball and no strikes. In his 16th big league season, Jimmy has been hovering around the Mendoza line most of the year. Bolsinger on deck, and then Kike Hernandez tries to go the other way, but right at third base. It is Castro playing on the left side of the infield. That's the first out of the third.
With these Cub uniforms, when they go into the shift, we don't have any numbers on the front of their jerseys. It's really hard to tell where they're at.
And as you were pointing out the other night, it was your basic 6-3 scorebook put out, but it was a ground ball to the shortstop at the third base spot. They'll have to figure that one out in the years to come. Bolsinger, his next base hit will be his first of the year. He's got 2 in his big league career.
That's really discouraging too, when you swing the bat as fast as you can and you're that late.
The guy who throws about
88.
Into center field. Hey, that's well hit. Hey, he's got a base hit. He's got a double. He grew up a Cub fan, and here he is at Wrigley Field with his first hit of the year.
He heard you, Oral.
Well, I
talking
think
about
Hendricks sped up his bat. I think he threw him something off speed. If a guy's that late on a fastball, you don't throw him something. You don't go from 88 to 78. He just turned the field for Mike. He was so late hitting the ball over the Dodger dugout on the last swing on an 88 mile an hour. So he goes down to 78 and puts it in his eyes. He hits it over Caesar's head.
Great Caesar's ghost.
Give him a salad.
Kike Hernandez. Ooh. Fouls it out of play. Miguel Montero, of course, came up with the Arizona Diamondbacks, came over here to Chicago over the winter. Talked to him before the game today. I said, you look good in those Cub pinstripes. He said, I just want to have a baseball uniform, and I don't care where I play. I'm happy to be in Chicago now. He's a baseball lifer. Someday he wants to manage. He's just one of these guys, Miguel Montero, that lives, eats, drinks baseball. Dodgers were interested in him. There was talk about an 8th year for Montero deal in November. That did not come to fruition. Yasmani Grandal would eventually become the Dodger catcher. Hernandez down on strike. Second strikeout for Hendricks.
That's the changeup that cuts that he throws to righties that the right-handed hitters are going to get used to seeing, Nomar.
Yeah, and this is also Manley. I mean, Mark McGwire was talking about just the offense a little bit before the game. You know, there's critical situations here. You have guys in scoring position trying to have that quality at bat. He took a big cut at the first pitch, which was a hittable pitch, which was fine. But after that, just trying to have that quality at bat to do something, to try to knock the guy in.
So it's up to Jock Peterson. Struck out in his first at bat. The shift is on for him, and a big swing and a miss. 0-1 to Peterson. 19 home runs, 36 runs batted in.
The lineup's got to recognize that when he gets with these runners on, that he is defaulting to his changeup. We're seeing a lot of velocities below 80 since Bolsinger reached second base.
There's a strike. At the moment, Peterson is at 247 on the year. Runners in scoring position 255. And you were talking Nomar during the pregame about the importance of hitting with runners in scoring position, and especially with 2 outs.
Yeah, the one thing with 2 outs, it's so deflating to the opposing pitcher and the opposing team, and it's so uplifting to your team. And especially when you're struggling right now as the Dodgers. You see Montero do a good job keeping that in front. That 2-out RBI can really get a spark in offense.
They got to start believing in themselves again. Gonzalez with a home run in the second's giving him the early lead, and Peterson takes a shave.
Speaking of believing, Noam, when they haven't seen a guy like Hendricks very much, can you believe the scouting report? Or does it take a few times around the order where you go, okay, the scouting report is right, that he does go to the off-speed stuff?
Listen, you understand the scouting report, but you can also just see it. You can see from the side as well, the side views. You're watching the game in the dugout, see what he's using more. You're talking to guys as they've already had their at bat when they come back in. So your scouting report is a guide. You understand, maybe you've also probably seen some video as well. Just try to recognize the movement. But the game starts, and you got to trust your eyes in what you see and make your adjustment.
A lot of bite. It's 3-2.
And I'd really like to see Jock just shorten up a little bit as a 2-strike approach here. And it's not about hitting it out of the park right now. It's just about, putting the ball in play and trying to find some outfield grass.
On 3-2. Peterson among the league leaders in walks and strikeouts. And he'll take a walk. It really is uncanny. Mentioned it last night. More than 50% of Peterson's plate appearances result in either a home run, a walk, or a strikeout. Well, tonight he has struck out and he has walked.
I think some of that is him, and I think some of that is the pitchers also, because of the 19 home runs. They're very careful with him, and he's done a good job to get those walks by laying off the pitches that a lot of times rookies that are hitting start to swing at. Sometimes he gets that K, and sometimes he gets that walk as he's down there visiting with Mr. Rizzo.
2 of the bright young stars in the game. And here is Justin Turner, who flied to right in his first at bat. Turner .349 with runners in scoring position. Fly to right in his first at bat. And a fly ball to center field. That one is well hit. That one is on its way, and that one is gone. A home run. Justin Turner has hit his 10th home run of the year. A 3-run shot. And the Dodgers lead 4-0.
Talk about watching from the dugout, watching from the on-deck circle, realizing in this inning that Hendricks is defaulting to something slow. Justin Turner sitting on him the first pitch.
It's about getting that hit. If this curveball was up in the zone, the off-speed pitch just kind of spun there, kind of hung, and he stayed on it as well. I mean, that was on the outer half of the plate, and it was the first pitch, but it was up in the zone. He could get on top of it and drive it.
Dodgers exhaling a bit here in the third. The solo home run for Gonzalez in the second. The 3-run blast for Turner. The Dodgers now have 95 home runs on the year. And when they hit at least 1 home run this season, they're 32-18. So Bolsinger and the Dodgers off to a good start tonight. Gonzalez with his 13th home run of the season in his first at bat. Turner with the night off last night. Comes out with both barrels blazing tonight.
Zach Greinke's probably wondering where some of those runs are in his outings.
Fellas. Uncanny what the Dodgers have not done for Zach Greinke. He's gone 9 starts without a win, 50 days. He's been more adrift at sea than Noah was. Just give me a run to work with. In those 9 starts, he's gotten about 2 runs to work with, and last night in 6 innings he got nothing. Gonzalez on 2 hops to Russell. Turner with a 3-run home run. And the Dodgers are sitting pretty as a result of Justin Turner's 10th home run of the year. He now has 35 runs batted in. A solo home run in the 2nd. Turner a 3-run shot in the top of the 3rd as Kyle Hendricks will lead it off for the Cubs. So the Dodgers, quite unexpectedly when you think about it, from the days of Glendale, seems like a million years ago. You didn't expect them to be the muscle-bound home run hitting team that they turned out to be. And as it turns out, there's a strike. As the Dodgers hit home runs, they win. If they don't, they don't. Peterson, of course, has 19. The Dodgers as a team lead the National League with 95. And 32 and 18 when they hit at least 1.
Mark McGwire talked to Alana Rizzo before the game about pitchers' pitches compared to pitchers' mistakes and how they need to capitalize on pitchers' mistakes. And they've done that, including Mike Bolsinger on the mound, a hanging changeup that he hit over Caesar's head in center field, but then Justin Turner, a hanging breaking ball that he deposited. Adrian Gonzalez put a good swing on a ball that was up also. Not making outs on pitchers' pitches and capitalizing on pitchers' mistakes.
Again, talking about the importance of a shutdown inning for a team that's been struggling as the Dodgers have. Bolsinger facing Hendricks and Russell and Denorfia. Three and 2.
Well, you got the pitcher up there, and you got a 2-2 count. He's the leadoff hitter. That curveball is too far of a chase pitch. You want to throw him a strike curveball.
Well, he'll deal with a fastball for strikeout number 4. Come on out to Dodger Stadium Monday, July 6th, when the Dodgers host the Phillies, and help us celebrate the Dodgers' all-time leader in stolen bases. Maury Wills, the first 40,000 fans in attendance, receive a Maury Wills bobblehead presented by New Balance. For more information, go to Dodgers.com/promotions. Now, Addison Russell. 250 on the year with 5 home runs. Takes high and away. 1 ball, no strikes. Well, Bolsinger has retired the first hitter in each of the first 3 innings. He's got a 4-0 lead to work with, and he's got that off-speed stuff working.
That last curveball he just threw right there, I really like, because the league is starting to understand he throws it, so you just throw it and put it in a tough place to hit.
Lined into right field for a base hit. Second hit of the game for the Cubs.
That sequencing right there is the exact reason that he throws his curveball sequences out of order sometimes. The first one was a good strikeout type curveball, but then he comes back with the strike curveball. So you've slowed the hitter down, got him used to your spin, and now you throw a worse curveball after the better curveball. You really want them in the opposite order. You want the strike curveball when they're getting used to your release point, seeing the spin, and then after they see the spin and the release point, oh, you throw them a better one.
Now Chris Denorfia takes inside. Denorfia signed a free agent deal over the winter. Came up with the Reds in 2006. From Cincinnati to San Diego. A little bit of time in Seattle. And a call strike. He grew up in an area of Connecticut that produced Rob Dibble, Carl Pavano. Now Denorfia. Central Connecticut. Turns 35 next month. Career .272 hitter. He's got good speed, good defender. Starting in right field tonight. Addison Russell with the lead at first. He's stolen only 1 out of 4 this year. So Mike Bolsinger, his last 2 starts, struggled. An ERA of 5 1/3 in his first 5 starts. Had an ERA of just 1.15. So far, so good in this his 10th start.
It's a hanging breaking ball that you're glad to get the ball back. Boy, it might have just caught the strike zone there. Got away from it. This pitch gets away from him, but I think it hits the strike zone.
Yeah, it's still a strike.
If it's a home run, it's a hanger. But if they take it, it should be a strike.
Denorfia struck out swinging in his first at-bat. Anthony Rizzo on deck.
That swing right there, being defensive against an 89-mile-an-hour fastball, that's got to tell Yasmani Grandal and Mike Bolsinger what the Cubs think of is going to come. Because he was really late. He was sitting soft.
Grounded slowly to short. Just got him. Rollins to Kike Hernandez. The emphatic out call from second base umpire Jordan Baker. An unmistakable presence as he is 6 feet 7 inches and 250 pounds and a whip throw by Rollins.
Well, Jimmy recognizing that the ball was hit slow, so when he got it, he really had to release it and make a quick hard throw to Kike Hernandez.
That just must be a joy to receive a fastball 20 feet from.
You're hoping he doesn't handcuff you or put in a spot where.
Justin Turner moves over from third base to be part of the shift on the right side, leaving only Jimmy Rollins on the left side of the infield as Anthony Rizzo steps in and tries to beat the shift, just missing a bunt. And that might have been a bunt for a double too.
If that ends up fair and the ball ends up in the Cubs bullpen, that's going to even be tough for Alex Guerrero to get there from left field to prevent the run from scoring from first base. The ball, see the spin on it as it kicks away. So that is kicking away from everybody. Jimmy Rollins, who's way over up the middle.
We could have possibly seen a guy scoring from first on the RBI bunt.
Yep.
Reminds me of Rafael Furcal.
Yes.
who mastered the art of a bunt double. Oh, if they had shifted on him.
Oh, he would have done exactly that.
He'd be a 400 hitter.
Yes. He would run up. He would take 2 steps and show the bunt, and then.
And that little half swing.
Yeah, hit it over the infielder's head.
Alfredo Griffin was really good at that.
Rizzo, a strikeout victim in his first at-bat, takes low and outside.
Yasmani's doing a nice job ushering Mike Bolsinger through these innings. They recognized with Denorfia that he was sitting soft and stuck with the fastball, not just using the fastball to set up the breaking ball to finish him with it. They threw him 3 fastballs in a row at the end of the count. And right here with Rizzo doing a nice job with his targets.
15 home runs, 43 runs batted in. There goes the runner, fouled into the dirt. So Denorfia will return to first. Denorfia has stolen as many as 13 bases. Did that with the Padres 3 years ago. One ball and 2 strikes to Anthony Rizzo, who's down on strikes again. That's 5 strikeouts for Mike Bolsinger, and he's gotten Rizzo twice. When we come back to the 4th, Guerrero, Ethier, and Grandal will hit. In the second, a 3-run blast for Justin Turner in the 3rd. And here we are in the 4th. It'll be Alex Guerrero, Andre Ethier, and Yasmani Grandal. Guerrero, 5 minutes before game time, was inserted into the lineup. And on the first pitch of his second at-bat, Hendricks makes easy work of it, 1 out. Puig, that hand issue, you know, he popped that blister night before last, played through it last night, and apparently aggravated again during batting practice, and so Puig a last-minute scratch tonight. And there he is, and you see the heavily bandaged left hand and the fine headgear worn by Yasiel Puig, sitting with Alberto Callaspo. Ethier takes a strike. Monday night, on that swing, the blister opened up. You see the little blood actually through the glove. And then they tried to patch it up as best as they could. He tried to adjust the glove. He got a different glove. That didn't work out too well. He did play last night. But then again in batting practice this afternoon, he literally scratched a callus, didn't he? So he is out of action.
I wonder if it even got aggravated yesterday. Remember when he hit that triple, that one when that ball fell in, the pop up where nobody saw, that he slid head first into third base as well.
That was when the entire right side of the Cub defense didn't see a thing, could not find it in the dusk. And it was probably the easiest triple that Yasiel Puig ever got. What a play by Russell, but he's not going to get Ethier. So Andre Ethier, who has been struggling, gets himself a base hit despite the best efforts of Addison Russell.
And that's a big base hit when you're struggling like Andre Ethier. When you get it, you know that the infielder's going to have a chance to get the play, but you can smell that hit. You're hustling down the line. And it just takes something like that, something little, that infield hit that can turn you around.
When you start to feel good again.
You're like, hey, I got one. Can I get that ball back?
Yasmani Grandal takes a strike. Grandal bounced to first in his first at bat. What was it Yogi said? 90% of the game is half mental.
What about the other 50%?
Take that up with Yogi. So here's Grandal. He's one of the few Dodgers over the last 9 games, and the Dodgers have lost 7 of their last 9, hitting reasonably well at .269 during that period of time, hitting .270 on the year. Rizzo with a terrific play and covering at first base. A more inventive 3-1 double play, the likes of which we rarely see. No runs, 1 hit. Ernie Banks. He's on the cover of the media guide. He is Mr. Cub, and when we come back in the bottom of the 4th, we'll pay our respects to Let's Play 2.
Loved figure here around the Cubs organization and all of Major League Baseball. Mr. Cub, Ernie Banks, a statue of him outside of Wrigley Field. Welcome back inside Wrigley Field, everybody. The Cubs community and the Los Angeles Dodgers certainly mourning the passing of Ernie Banks, who passed away in January 23rd of 2015 at 83 years of age. Of course, a Cub his entire career, and what a career it was, guys. 2-time National League MVP, 14-time All-Star, 1977 Baseball Hall of Fame inductee, 2013 Presidential Medal of Freedom Award, and of course the famous saying, it's a great day for a ball game, let's play two.
Chris Bryant leads off in the fourth. Of course, number 14 was the first jersey retired in the history of the Cubs, and you saw a glimpse of that statue outside Wrigley Field. That's the first statue ever erected outside Wrigley Field. And the remarkable thing about Ernie Banks, and Alana touched on, of course, he played every single moment of his major league career with the Cubs. And he came up as a shortstop in the latter stages of his career. He moved from short to first base, and everybody is wearing the number 14 patch on the jersey. Bryant fouls it into the dirt. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. He was a great shortstop before moving over to first base, but as he got older, and then Kessinger came up, and he was a 279, 274 career hitter. 512 home runs, when 512 home runs meant something. And he was doing it on consistently bad teams. But he was a great player and had this effervescent personality. Certainly beloved, and is an historic figure in Chicago.
Recognized way outside the city of Chicago. Also was the all-century team, Major League Baseball.
Yeah, and just such a gentleman. I mean, I know playing here, to be able to meet him and be around him, I mean, it truly it was such a thrill.
You almost got the sense he never had a bad day in his life. He was happy all the time. Loved the game as much as anybody.
And kept up with the game.
Yeah.
Not only understood his generation and knew everybody, but stayed up with the game and come up and greet you, shake your hand, call you by name, know something about your career, ask you about your family.
Right. And like you said, the joy he always had, you're just going, gosh, can I bottle that?
Or just borrow it.
Yeah, exactly. It was definitely infectious.
Bryant down on strikes. That's a 6th strikeout for Mike Bolsinger. Ernie Banks began his career in 1950 at the age of 19 when he played with the Kansas City Monarchs of the old Negro Leagues. Was drafted in 51 into the military. Came up with the Cubs in 53. Played more games for the Cubs than anybody else, second only to Cap Anson in base hits. 3rd in doubles all time. Cap Anson is 1st or 2nd, pretty near everything. You know who was 2nd in doubles Cub history? Mark Grace. But Ernie had more extra base hits than anybody. More total bases. 512 home runs. And 1,636 runs batted in. And he is as beloved for his personality and persona as his baseball deeds. Which brings up the question, is he the greatest player never to make the postseason? As the sun is setting on this beautiful late Wednesday afternoon in Chicago.
I know he was rated the 27th best player ever at one time.
Montero with the 1-out single to right.
I think he's the front runner for best player ever to not play in the postseason.
Starlin Castro is the batter. You know, when he was playing, he was so beloved in this town that he would occasionally do the Sunday night sports on WGN. Homer. Well, this is the time of night where the sun's setting. That last couple of days, nights, it's been a bit of an issue.
You're reminding each other on the field. You're looking at each other, the outfielders, the infielders telling each other, hey, help me out when the ball goes up in the air.
Starlin Castro, an infield hit in his first at bat, and third base coach Gary Jones gets out of the way. Castro with his hit, now at 266. The Dodgers with a 4-0 lead. If you're just joining us, Adrian Gonzalez a solo home run in the second. Justin Turner a 3-run shot in the third, both to center field. So in your brief tenure with the Cubs, what, a year and a half, so you got to spend a fair amount of time with Ernie.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, he was around. You get to chat with him, and it's everything you talked about. How it was just great, just the energy he had, and that, I'm very fortunate to be around. I guess you call them old timers or those who have played before, and just to hear the stories that they have and the knowledge and what they went through. It's to be a fly on the wall, and when they're around, it's a great feeling.
Rollins backhand. Can he get him at second base? Yes, he can. And at first, not in time.
I tell you, that was a tremendous play by Jimmy Rollins. One, to get to this ball, but then two, to bobble it just a little bit and stay with it. Glove falls off and still gets the force out at second. And you see Kike recognizing that Starlin Castro was not running hard. He slips there, but wasn't really running all that hard, and had a chance as we have a look at the Carl's cam with a fine play by Jimmy Rollins.
And those are the things that drive Cub fans crazy about Starlin Castro. Kind of can't blame him for stumbling out of the box, but the final 30 feet he's jogging to first base.
He let the disappointment of Jimmy stopping the ball and him not getting a hit get into his legs in his effort.
So one shortstop does in the other. 2 out, and Chris Coghlan coming up.
I know Jimmy's been struggling at the plate offensively, but it's little things like that that he has done. His defense out there, receiving that extra base, getting that out, that he has helped on that side of the game.
Chris Coghlan, who turned 30 last week, was Rookie of the Year in 2009 with the Marlins. He's a left-handed version of Chris Denorfia. Not going to hit for a whole lot of power. Plays solid defense, good speed. Coghlan is a 273 lifetime hitter. Wouldn't you know it? Denorfia 272 lifetime.
Okay, 3-0, 2 out. Last time on the mound, Mike Bolsinger had a tough time getting in the dugout against the Giants. Gave up the grand slam to Buster Posey with some lazy 2-out pitches. He's got to get himself back in the strike zone. This inning is not over.
He's got a 4-0 lead. The 3-0 pitch is high and away. That's the first walk of the game given up by Bolsinger.
Sometimes you just don't have enough talent to pitch around some of these either lulls in concentration or execution, and this is one of the edges that Mike needs to really rub off to get out of this last 4 start slump he's been in, where his ERA has been over 5.
Now Matt Caesar bounced to second in his first at bat and takes a strike. 0-1. The sun is setting here on the north side of Chicago, and presumably on the south side too. No balls and 2 strikes. 66 pitches thrown by Bolsinger to this point. 43 of them for strikes. There's a bit of a rainbow out there. 1914. They built this park for about $250,000. Got its money's worth.
Even with the rehab costs, I think it's worth more than that. It's a good investment. It's a beautiful place. I tell you, you just love coming here as a player. Walking those tunnels, thinking Ty Cobb,
well, yeah,
Babe Ruth.
The history, right?
Just walking on the same cement with your spikes as those guys.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Interesting to note that James Russell is warming up in the bullpen. Why? Because if Caesar gets on, tying run comes to the plate, and Hendricks, who's batting 8th in Madden's lineup, might be yanked early.
They ran down there to get that action started, or at least start stretching. They weren't throwing a ball yet, right after the Castro fielder's choice.
To third base, and Turner will take it by himself, and Bolsinger will get out of the inning. And presumably Russell will sit down. And Hendricks will pitch as we go to the 5th. Dodgers 4-0. By the Dodge Challenger with an EPA estimated 30 highway mpg. This car was made for driving in California. Visit Dodge.com today. Jimmy Rollins, Mike Bolsinger, and Kike Hernandez will bat for the Dodgers in the 5th. They've got a 4-0 lead, and on this beautiful night, the folks out there on Sheffield and Waveland watching from outside looking in. This, in every sense of the word, is a neighborhood team and ballpark. The Chicago Cubs, as Jimmy Rollins bounced to third in his first at-bat, and the Cubs got the shift on him and tries to go the other way and slices it into the stands. Jimmy at 206 lines one into left field, and it's caught by Chris Coghlan. That's when you know you're in a slump.
Jimmy's really trying something new by using the opposite field approach, and hits the line drive, does exactly what he's trying to do, and you're just up here as a Dodger fan rooting that this ball falls in, because it could be the beginning of a hot streak for him, but ends up in the leather.
Yeah, that's frustrating, not only for Jimmy Rollins, but also for your hitting coaches. You know, Mark McGwire, John Valentin, when they've been talking about, okay, we're trying to help you out. Maybe Let's try to use the opposite field a little bit more, noticing he's been rolling over in his struggles. And then he does it and has nothing to show for it.
Don Mattingly, I think, wants a replay, wondering if we think Coghlan made a clean catch or not. Jimmy Rollins, halfway to first base when he saw Coghlan make the play, thought he had bobbled it. Let's see. What do you think?
In baseball, he holds on to it. It stays there. I'll tell you what. In baseball, there's no such thing as the ground not causing a fumble.
It might have rattled around a little bit. The leather was always under the ball.
Yeah, I think so too.
Jerry Meals about a foot shorter than Jordan Baker. But the smaller of the two is the boss. Everybody here at Wrigley Field is watching as we are.
I learned that rule when I was in the minor leagues. It's kind of funny. I had a ball kind of hit over my head. I caught it. I jumped, caught it, and as I came down, my glove hit the ground. The ball popped out. And I had it. I mean, it was in my glove, and I was like, wait a minute. The ground caused it to pop out. The umpire goes, you're right. It popped out. But he goes, the ground can cause a fumble. This isn't football no more. I was like, okay, I was just checking. Now I know.
Bolsinger takes outside and low. 1 ball, no strikes. Bolsinger's first hit of the year. And the first extra base hit of his career. So Bolsinger is hot. He's 1 for 21.
A lot of times if a hitter does something in the at bat before, they'll adjust the defense, but they're still playing the center fielder in real shallow. They're not believing that one at bat.
It's almost as if they're inviting Bolsinger in for tea.
It's almost as if they're going, if you can do that again.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
But when he got that double, the reaction in the dugout was, wow. Now he's worked the count full, 3-2. Kike Hernandez is on deck. So Bolsinger fouls it off his foot, but in the 3rd inning, Matt Caesar couldn't believe his eyes. Nor could the dugout. Yeah, thanks, fellas.
You know you have no power when your best bolt doesn't even reach the warning track, though.
Come on now.
Hey, I was right with him. I can get on him.
And Bolsinger smiling. He is always smiling, isn't he?
He's a great guy.
Grew up a Cub fan, and what a thrill this must be for him tonight. But down on strikes. 3rd strikeout for Hendricks. And that'll bring up Kike Hernandez. Hernandez getting the start tonight with Howie Kendrick. Struggling a bit, getting the night off. Mattingly saying before the game today, wanted to change up the lineup a little bit. Puig was going to be in the lineup and bat 5th, but the blister opened up on him. And they wanted Hendricks or Gonzalez. A little energy at the top of the lineup. But so far tonight he's 0 for 3. The Dodgers go in order in the top of the 5th. After 4.5 with Puig watching, Dodgers leading 4-0. fifth. He struggled in each of his last 2 starts, but he's turned it around tonight.
Yeah, in the last few starts, strikeout pitch has not been a problem. It hasn't been a problem here tonight. The curveball has been the main weapon to finish guys off. 5 out of the 6 strikeouts coming on breaking balls. 1 was on a slider, 4 on curveballs, and then that fastball, that lone fastball, locking him up. But the key to tonight's outing, not only these strikeouts, but pitching well with men on base.
And pitching well with a lead. So he's had a couple of lockdown innings. And here we go in the 5th. Mike Baxter pinch hitting for Hendricks, fouls it off to the left, and it's 0-1. Baxter, Russell, and Denorfia will bat here in the 5th inning. Bolsinger deals, and Baxter bloops one into short center field for a base hit. A do drop in.
A well-located fastball almost hits the glove of Yasmani Grandal, but just able to fist it off and loop it into center.
Baxter began the 10th inning last night for the Cubs with a base hit. And eventually Caesar came in to score on the sac fly off the bat of Denorfia. And the Cubs beat the Dodgers 1-0. Addison Russell the hitter. What happened last night, a 1-0 extra inning game between the Dodgers and the Cubs at Wrigley Field, hadn't happened since 1936. Van Lingle Mungo threw a 10-inning shutout for the Dodgers. Their manager, Casey Stengel. Game-winning RBI driven in by Frenchie Bordegaray. At the same time, at Yankee Stadium, Bob Feller was shut out by lefty Gomez 1-0. A rookie in center field for the Yankees named Joe DiMaggio. On September 3rd, 1936, all that happened. Three balls and a strike.
Big time pitch right here to gather yourself. You're up 4-0. You give up a bloop hit to the first hitter, the pinch hitter, and now we're about to turn the lineup over to the 3rd time around, where those hitters have all seen you twice. You don't want to set the table for them.
Lined into left field. That is going to be a base hit. That's going to roll to the ivy. Baxter's rounding 3rd, and he will score. A double for Addison Russell. The Cubs are on the board now. The Dodger lead is 4-1.
You back yourself into a count where you have to throw a strike because you don't want 1st and 2nd no out. So you come after with the fastball and it leaks down the middle. Addison Russell puts a good swing on it right here. And the double not only drives in a run, but keeps them out of a double play situation.
The Dodger bullpen is beginning to shuffle around. Nobody's picked up a ball yet. Rick Honeycutt is on the phone to Chuck Krim. And there's a line drive base hit into right. Russell rounding 3rd. He will be held there. Throw cut off by Gonzalez. Gets past him, but Grandal backing up. So 3 hits in a row here in the bottom of the 5th. And J.P. Howell is the first one to go to work down there.
Norfia does a good job on this breaking ball, staying back. Talk about going through the lineup for the 3rd time, recognizing, hey, you're going to get some off speeds here from Bolsinger, so you want to look for that curveball, stay back on it. And Norfia does a good job, and definitely looks like a big, the Cubs don't want to run themselves out of an inning, so they hold them up at 3rd. This is what you were talking about, Oral, at the beginning of the game, where those innings that he really needs to buckle down when he gets guys on to really make that big pitch that can help himself out.
Right here, he's really, you should sacrifice the runner at third. You should try and get in the dugout with a 4-2 lead right here. To pitch to try and save the runner at third, you really risk a huge crooked number. Rick Honeycutt coming out to give the bullpen, J.P. Howell, a little more time to get loose in case they want to make a move after this hitter.
Well, Anthony Rizzo is coming up, left-hander. After him is Chris Bryant, right-hander, and after him is Miguel Montero, the left-hander. And don't look now, but Rizzo, as he steps into the batter's box, is a tying run at the plate.
I'm sure the advice from Rick Honeycutt is about not worrying about the guy on third. Let's get a ground ball double play right here. Start fresh. 2 out, nobody on, and a 4-2 lead's a lot better than having this thing continue by giving up base hits and trying to save that run at third.
Well, the meeting has broken up. Things have gotten dicey for Bolsinger with men on. And it's dicey now. First and third. The shift on the right side for Anthony Rizzo, who has been struck out twice. And he takes a strike, 0-1. Chris Bryant on deck, and then Miguel Montero. Cubs have won 7 of their last 11. They're 9 games over 500. To this point, Rizzo has had difficulties with Bolsinger.
Mike's done a nice job, though, when he throws the off-speed pitch. He keeps it on the outer half of the plate, even in the right-hand batter's box. And Rizzo has been expecting it, looking for it, and really swinging at Mike's pitches, which have been balls.
Next pitch for Bolsinger will be his 80th. Rizzo with 15 home runs and 43 runs batted in. Grandal is just getting better and better at blocking those balls in the dirt.
This is a big one because it also keeps the double play in order. Saves a run from third base, but keeping that double play in order, if Bolsinger can get that ground ball, that was a huge block.
Yeah, that runner gets to second, not only double play out of order, but you can score 2 runs if you're the Cubs with 2 outs just by moving them over and then getting them in.
1-2 to Rizzo. And Bolsinger steps off the rubber.
Get it in there.
There's 1 and there's 2. Not as easy as it looked with that shift. A run comes in. The Dodgers sacrifice a run for 2 outs. And it'll bring up Chris Bryant.
He missed his spot. He was trying to come fastball in and leaked over the middle of the plate. Rizzo came over the top of it trying to hit it for power. Bolsinger ends up with the double play. Exactly what he and Rick Honeycutt and Yasmani Grandal were looking for.
It goes in the book as 4-6-3. And the Dodgers lead has been cut to 2. No RBI, of course. Bases are now cleared, and Chris Bryant coming up, and the Dodgers shift on the left side of the infield. Bryant has popped to first and struck out. Montero on deck. Andy Fletcher, the first base umpire. Four runs, 4 hits for the Dodgers, 2 runs and 6 hits for the Cubs.
Can't give in here either. Chris Bryant will be swinging 3-0 if he gets a pitch.
Three and one.
Like Bolsinger not feeling comfortable from the windup, just went 3-0, and so the 3-0 pitch, he threw a 3-0 curveball from the stretch, and now is throwing another pitch from the stretch with nobody on.
What does that tell you?
Tells me he feels a little loose out of the windup. Maybe he's hit a plateau in his energy level, so the full windup, he can't hold it together, so he's going for less movement from the stretch, where he just picks his leg up and stays on line.
'87 pitches. The 87th coming up. Second walk. J.P. Howell has been warming. He is ready. Miguel Montero, left-handed hitter, is coming up. And Mattingly's coming out. And presumably he's going to take Bolsinger back with him. Donnie taking as two-thirds, couple of runs, 6 base hits, 6 strikeouts, 2 walks, 87 pitches, and 54 of them for strikes. And the Cubs starter, Hendricks, went 5 and gave up 4 runs and 4 hits. And for J.P. Howell, his 27th appearance. So about halfway through the game, it's going to be a battle of the bullpens in the second half. Miguel Montero has singled to right and struck out swinging. Montero has faced Howell 5 times back when he was with the D-backs. 0 for 5. And so Howell on in relief. Again, these two teams back at it tomorrow first thing. Montero takes a strike and it's 0-1. The 27th game for the Dodgers in a span of 34 in 34 days. And it's on to Miami and Arizona after that.
This is a huge lead, huge win for the Dodgers to get this to the 9th inning and be ahead, because you got a 10-game road trip. You had Greinke and Kershaw both get losses in their starts. You got Bolsinger out there, he's got a 4-0 lead. Now you're 4-2. You got a day game after a night game. If you don't win this one, you could be getting swept in Chicago, moving on to 2 more cities. It's a big win for the Dodgers.
Well, at least the Dodgers have scored more than 2. That has been an issue.
So they got that going for them.
Yeah. And when they score at least 4 this year, their record is 30-4. But lots of work between now and the finish line. Montero takes a strike.
J.P. Hall and Yasmani Grandal really pitching backwards. You bring in a lefty to face a lefty, and you're a hitter, you might expect some breaking balls, but they've been wearing out that outside corner with change-up fastball combination.
1-2 to Montero. Bryant, he can run. Ball in the dirt. Yasmani Grandal, keep saying it, but with each passing game, he's just getting better and better at that art.
When you get a breaking ball from a lefty, see how that ball came back to Yasmani. The more and more he gets balls in the dirt from this pitching staff, how he then can read what their individual spins do when it hits the dirt. Right there, knowing JP's was going to come back to him. Very calmly blocked that one.
2-2 with 2 out and 2 in here in the bottom half of the 5th. Now 3-2.
Or as a, when you're on the staff, and are you noticing that by your catcher, the way Yasmani's blocking the ball, and does that give you confidence when you're out on the hill, say maybe if he's asking for one in the dirt with a man on third base or at any other time?
Yeah, it definitely helps you a lot. And you notice your catcher's body language back there when his fingers go down. You don't have to shake to the breaking ball, that he wants it.
On 3-2. Strike 3 swinging. So Howell comes in, strikes out Montero, ends the 5th, but not before the Cubs come up with 2. Bolsinger's night is done, and Howell strikes out Montero. In the 6th for the Dodgers, Peterson, Turner, and Gonzalez are coming up. Saturday, and the Dodgers will be hosting the Mets. Stay after the game at Dodger Stadium. See the sky light up with a spectacular 4th of July fireworks show presented by Cirque du Soleil's Curious. For more information, go to Dodgers.com/promotions. Here's Jock Peterson. You know, we've been talking about how unique his numbers are. It's James Russell now on in relief. Russell pitched 2/3 of an inning on Monday night against the Dodgers. Jock Peterson, we say 50% of the time he's either going to hit a home run, strikeout, or walk. Well, he's had 8 at-bats in the series, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, and a home run. Peterson tonight has struck out and walked, so he's due for a home run, of which he has 19 this year. He came in on Justin Turner's 3-run home run in the 3rd. Peterson has actually hit better against left-handed pitching this year than right. Hitting .247 at the moment, and a little roller up the first base line, and Russell makes a terrific play from his knees. Now Justin Turner. Last night he had the night off. In his first at bat tonight, he flied to right, and in his second at bat in the 3rd inning, he got it all. His 10th home run of the year, a 3-run shot, 1 of 2 that Hendricks would serve up tonight. And that at that moment gave the Dodgers a 4-0 lead. They enjoy a 4-2 lead here in the 6th. So Turner's been flexing his muscles over the last 9 games. Adrian Gonzalez on deck, and Turner takes a strike, 0-1. Turner having another great year. 340 last year. It was one of those, nobody saw that one coming. Then he had the great spring, hit pretty near 400 during the spring, and he has kept it going. 327 now with 10 home runs and 35 runs batted in.
That's one of the reasons why they traded Juan Uribe, because he was playing so well, and they were trying to figure out, okay, how do I get his bat in the lineup?
And Alex Guerrero was playing so well, hitting so well. The logjam started at 3rd instead of in the outfield, as it's been for the Dodgers.
Turner down on strikes, 2 out. And Adrian Gonzalez coming up. Gonzalez came into the game slumping. 8 for his previous 61, but in his first at bat in the 2nd inning, he launched his 13th home run of the year. So Gonzalez now at 298. We were talking earlier about May 12th being the borderline between the Dodgers when they were at 22-10. But 17-23 over the last 40 games. Everybody's numbers are down, with the notable exception of Justin Turner. In the case of Adrian Gonzalez, he's hitting just .232 over the last 40 games. After hitting .383 in his first 32.
He had a tough month and a half last year around this time. And then really turned it on after the All-Star break.
Two out, nobody on in the 6th.
Nomar, those are the ones that you talk about, even if you make an out, but you remember pitches that you should have hit.
Yeah, you were talking about, okay, his home run, does that get him out of that slump? While you go home thinking about the ones you foul off. There's certain pitches you'll play over in your mind after the game, and you're still trying to go, okay, maybe I'm just off a hair. What is it? Why didn't I get that? Why didn't I square that pitch up? That's the one I know I usually do.
Call strike 3. Gonzalez down. Doesn't like the call from home plate umpire Jerry Meals. Russell strikes out 2.
Bryant, a young up-and-coming star in the National League, much like the Dodgers' Jock Peterson. He and Joey Gallo of the Rangers, who the Dodgers just saw in Texas, grew up together. Their fathers coached together, and the two played travel ball in Las Vegas with another young star in the National League, Bryce Harper, who was a year younger. And these three guys, up-and-comers in the National League, Chris Bryant, Joey Gallo, both home runs off of Clayton Kershaw this year. Hopefully Harper does not make it a trifecta when the Dodgers go to Washington, the series after the All-Star break, guys.
It'll be the first game back after the break. The Dodgers will embark on another long road trip after the All-Star break. 3 in Washington, 3 in Atlanta, and 4 in New York. This is Starlin Castro as Howell delivers outside. 2-0. It'll be Castro, Coghlan, and Matt Caesar to bat for the Cubs here in the bottom of the 6th. Quick turnaround tomorrow. We'll be back on the air at 11 o'clock Pacific. Popped up. It's Jimmy Rollins' ball. Tomorrow, Carlos Frias and John Lester. And then down to Florida for the weekend. Coghlan has flied to center and has walked. Last night was a very important win for the Cubs. Battling the Dodgers, big crowd. They're beginning to believe in themselves. I think tonight is a bigger game for the Dodgers because, as you mentioned, this is game 3 of a 10-game road trip. The Dodgers have not done especially well on the road. Now it's going to be a battle of attrition to the two bullpens tonight. and not another day off until a week from tomorrow.
Kershaw and Greinke go the first 2 games of the road trip. The Dodgers lose both of those games, and you start to think about, how do they do in those games compared to when the 3, 4, and 5 guys pitch? Well, the Dodgers are 4 games over 500 when Kershaw and Greinke start. They're 2 games over 500 when numbers 3, 4, and 5 start.
One and one to Coughlin with 1 out in the bottom of the 6th.
I think those numbers, the 3, 4, and 5 guys and the teams on those nights have really held up their end of the deal. That Kershaw and Greinke really could be more than 4 games over 500, especially Zach Greinke, the way the run support has gone for him.
Turner and Gonzalez with home runs tonight. There's a strike. Zach Greinke winless in his last 9 starts. He's got the lowest earned run average of any pitcher in baseball, 1.7. Hasn't won a game in 50 days. Last year, Jeff Samardzija went winless in 9 consecutive starts despite an ERA of under 2. How many other pitchers in Major League history have gone 9 consecutive starts without a win and an ERA south of 2? None. Greinke and Samardzija, and that's it. Comebacker. Perfectly positioned as Howell.
It's the one guy on the field you can't shift other than the catcher. I mean, the way Zach Greinke pitches sometimes, though, he can shift.
Yeah.
He'll deliver a ball slow enough that he can jump to one side or the other where he thinks it's going to get hit.
And we've seen him do that so many times.
Talk about a man who deserves a better fate. Greinke. Great again last night. The only thing that really got to him was his pitch count, 111 in the 6 innings, but no runs, 3 hits, 5 strikeouts.
He should probably take all the hitters out to dinner tomorrow when we get into Miami.
I'm saying it'd
be too obvious to do it the day before he pitches.
We were talking about, does he have a team meeting and say, okay, do you guys not like me?
Matt Caesar. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. What do I have to do? Caesar with a beautiful bunt. Howell quickly throws high. Adrian Gonzalez trying to do a little Houdini on Caesar, and he wasn't buying. That was a veteran play.
Well, J.P. Howell does a great job getting off the mound quickly, getting to this ball. It was the spin and throw that just got him. But watch how he gets to that ball. Okay, knowing he has to be quick, spins around and pulls off Adrian Gonzalez.
Adrian's trying to fake out Caesar as he's getting past first base, hoping he might bite. Here's Dexter Fowler pinch hitting. So Caesar gets a base hit. And Fowler, who dinged his ankle the other night, is pinch hitting.
Even with this 4-2 lead, and even with the scoreboard saying it's the bottom of the 6th, it feels like pins and needles. As bad as the Dodgers need to win.
This is one of those miles to go before we sleep. Caesar has very good speed. He's stolen a couple of bases. Ahead to the 7th, the Dodgers will have Guerrero, Ethier, and Grandal coming up. Dodgers concerned by Caesar. There's 2 out. Now it's 1-1. I'll make that 0-2. 0-2 to Dexter Fowler.
Well, Caesar, if he runs and gets thrown out, you lose your pinch hitter, Dexter Fowler, unless you decide to put him in the game and put him into center field and bring your pitcher into Caesar's position if you're Joe Madden.
Do a double shift. We don't know the condition of his ankle. Caesar's not going, and Fowler takes inside.
If all that Fowler can do is hit and not play defense, then I don't think Caesar would be running. If he can play defense also, Cubs could, with 2 out, 2 strikes, decide to start Caesar.
Justin Grimm, a right-hander, is warming up in the Cub bullpen. There he is. The Dodger bullpen is quiet. Addison Russell is on deck. Dodgers with a solo home run by Gonzalez in the 2nd, a 3-run home run for Turner in the 3rd. Cubs scored 2 in the bottom of the 5th. 2 out here in the bottom half of the 6th. To the right side, easy play for Gonzalez. J.P. Howell takes a dive, and we think he's okay. That's J.P. being J.P. No runs and a hit. We'll go to the 7th.
Is brought to you by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop ChooseNissan.com. And by Jack in the Box. Taste the new black pepper cheeseburger today, only at Jack in the Box.
Well, J.P. Howell, another guy's never had a bad day in his life. He took a dive. Not intentionally. Whoop. That's worthy of the Morongo slow-mo cam. And then he was greeted in the dugout.
Yasiel's hand doesn't hurt when he waves the towel. Oh boy.
Puig has that left hand taped like he was a boxer. So he was a last-minute scratch tonight. Guerrero hitting in his place in the 5th spot. 0 for 2. Puig re-aggravated that blister that popped open on him night before last, and about 5 minutes before game time, Guerrero was placed into the lineup. Alex 0 for 2, takes outside. Joel Peralta getting back on the saddle after last night's difficulties in the 10th. Fresh off the disabled list. Guerrero, Ethier, and Grandal will bat here in the 7th inning. Justin Grimm's 21st appearance has 24 strikeouts in 16 innings. And opposing hitters are hitting just 193.
I'm sure a lot of those strikeouts are on that breaking ball we just saw. That was sharp and late. And you can get it up there around 96.
That'll get your attention. And for Guerrero, that is a grim fairy tale. 1 out, and Andre Ethier coming up. Meanwhile, the last 3 Dodger hitters have been struck out, 2 by Russell and 1 by Justin Grimm. Ethier tonight 0 for 2, a correction, 1 for 2, and an infield hit. Andre's been struggling lately. Into left field, slicing foul into Steve Bartman's neighborhood. At Wrigley Field, you know where Bartman's neighborhood was. At Dodger Stadium, you know where Mannywood is. Those famous seats. And where is Steve Bartman? And in Boston, the pesky pole.
Good old pesky pole. Pitchers love that pole. Right, Oral? Nice and close down the line. Balls you think that are going foul, stay fair for a home run.
They don't have time to hook foul.
And 20 feet to the left, it's 500 feet from home plate. We're pretty close to it. About 6 inches of fair territory down there in the left field corner. I don't think anybody could have ever imagined in 1914 when Weigman Park, which now is of course Wrigley Field, players would be so big and strong and fast, and the fact that there were brick walls that are covered with nothing but ivy. Ethier's done. And so there are unique aspects to this ballpark, and in some ways it's the players have advanced more than the park has, but in terms of sheer beauty, there's nothing quite like it. There's the netting. And how did that ivy come about? Bill Veeck planted ivy in the walls in the mid-30s. And in the spring, with no ivy, it's not a pretty view out there. And then all of a sudden, when spring turns to summer and The ivy sprouts.
And then when there's no ivy, then you see kind of the way it's held up, where there's like these little spikes and stuff in the wall, where you're going, oh, I don't want to run into that.
Dodgers with a 4-2 lead. With 2 out and nobody on. Grandal is 0 for 2. There's a strike. 3-1. Jimmy Rollins on deck. Count is full. And so is Wrigley Field. With Peralta warming, 36,653. Grandal is done, and that will end the inning. Grimm comes in and strikes out the side. Addison Russell, Chris Denorfia, and Anthony Rizzo to bat for the Cubs in the bottom of the 7th. Peralta getting warm and ready. A lovely night at the ball yard. As the Cubs and the Dodgers have at it, we go to the bottom of the 7th. Addison Russell leading it off against Joel Peralta, who delivers high and away, 1 ball and no strikes. Peralta, a rugged outing in his first appearance back off the disabled last night. 1 run, 2 hits, and he walked a batter. So here we are in the 7th. Dodgers lead by 2, and Peralta delivers a strike, and it's 1-1. Scott Van Slyke in the game, part of a double switch, so he goes to left field. He'll bat 9th in the lineup, or 2nd when the Dodgers hit in the 8th. It has been the Indiana Jones rickety bridge just to get to Kenley Jansen this season, and see what Peralta can do. He should get the first out. Ethier's camped underneath it. 39-year-old Joel Peralta. With Adam Libator and Juan Nicasio one.
Dodgers have had 5 relievers perform in this series so far in the 2 games. 7 of them in total, but 5 different guys, and Peralta's the only one really has gotten roughed up.
Last night, Nicasio, Libator, Garcia, Peralta, and then Jansen. High and inside, 1 ball, no strikes to Denorfia, who is 1 for 3. Denorfia fouls it back. We were talking about it between innings, the 3 of us. There's a greater sense of, I guess, urgency about this game than I think we've felt in a while, just because of the way the road trip started. The fact that there are still 7 more games on the road after this one, and losing with both Kershaw and Greinke gone.
To me, it felt like a playoff game once Mike Bolsinger couldn't get through 5 innings, and all of a sudden J.P. Howell comes in and it's a 4-2 lead, but it's like it's a long way to the 9th from there.
It's a complicated tapestry from here to there. J.P. Howell did his job, though. Goes an inning in the 3rd and gives up just 1 base hit.
I think the other thing too that makes us a little nervous, as we were talking about, is, you know, the Dodgers, they put up that 1 spot in the 2nd and then a 3 spot in the 3rd, and you're like, okay, they got some home runs there, but hasn't really created a threat on the offensive side since then.
Since the 3-run home run by Gonzalez in the 3rd, an infield hit by Ethier, that was it. To shortstop. Rollins throws out Denorfia, 2 out.
Oro, do you like pitchers doing that quick pitch that you just saw from Joel Peralta?
Yep, I like that. I like what Mike Bolsinger did in the 3-0 count with 2 out, nobody on, going right to his stretch, then trying to get back to his release point. Anything you can do to be an athlete out there to upset the hitter's timing.
Well, here's Mattingly. And with the lefty Anthony Rizzo due up, Adam Libator is on his way in. Peralta does what he's asked to do, retire the 2 right-handed hitters. It'll be Libator and Rizzo with 2 out, nobody on in the bottom of the 7th when we come back. All right, the Cubs in order, struck out a batter, and now he's getting ready for his 27th appearance. He and Libator come from the Rays. Gillis and Dominguez to Tampa. And Libator has been really solid. Rizzo had no luck at all against Mike Bolsinger tonight. Struck out twice and bounced into a double play.
They pounded him in with fastballs at 88 and then also soft breaking balls away, and Rizzo offered at them.
"15 home runs, 43 runs batted in." Chris Bryant on deck. Rizzo would actually prefer to hit against left-handed pitching than right-handed pitching. Batting .377 with lefties. Most of his home runs, however, 14 of the 15, come against right-handed pitching.
We mentioned in game 1 against Clayton Kershaw how he goes right to a two-strike approach when he faces left-handers, choking up and shortening up. It's like with Libator, he's just barely choking up.
Now Libator, who rarely walks anybody, falls behind 3-0. Libator 23 strikeouts and 5 walks in 21 innings. Bryant on deck. And a 4-pitch walk. That brings the powerful Chris Bryant up. He's got 10 home runs, needs a tying run at the plate. And Mattingly is going to, it's like Nicasio warming up in the bullpen. And Libator comes in, faces one batter, lefty against lefty. And he walks Rizzo on 4 pitches. Juan Nicasio is next. Getting Baxter, Caesar, and Fowler. Struck out one of them. And this is his 24th appearance. Bryant tonight, 0 for 2 and a walk. And so Libator, who's not prone to giving up that many walks, walks Rizzo on 4 pitches. And Bryant, dangerous business. 10 home runs and 42 runs batted in.
Feeling more and more like a playoff game for the Dodgers and a big win for Don Mattingly and Rick Honeycutt. The way they're managing the pitching staff, they are really trying to make sure this goes in the W column. This is our 5th pitcher, and we're not even through 7 innings, and we've only given up 2 runs. So they are walking a tightrope, trying to get the ball to Kenley Jansen with a lead.
That has been an issue for the Dodgers in the last 40 games or so. Rizzo has very good speed at first base for a big guy. There's a strike, 0-1. In the last 40 games, the Dodger bullpen ERA is at 4 1/4. Through May 12th, when they were 22-10, the ERA was under 2. And the 0-1. 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Dodgers lead by 2. Bottom of the 7th. Nicasio. Ground ball up the middle into center field for a base hit. On an 0-2 pitch, Cubs prolong the inning. The tying runs are aboard, and Miguel Montero's coming up.
Nice job by Juan Nicasio getting the count to 0-2, but then when you get to 0-2, fastball low and away, you're trying to miss or hit the black. It leaks back up over the middle of the plate. Gives Chris Bryant a good shot at barreling it up.
So now Miguel Montero. Montero is 1 for 3. Montero has seen Nicasio a fair amount when Miguel was with the Diamondbacks and Nicasio with the Colorado Rockies. And he is 4 for 13 with 2 home runs. So to this point in the game, this is the biggest batter. Miguel Montero 1 for 3, was struck out twice and single to right. Takes outside and low, 1 ball, no strikes. Two out, nobody on. Lipitor walked Rizzo on 4 pitches, and then on an 0-2 pitch, Bryant singles to center. 1st and 2nd. 2 balls, no strikes.
A lot of fastballs from Juan Nicasio, not changing it up, and it makes you wonder too if, remember that fingernail, the middle fingernail issue he had? I wonder if that's still an issue, or it's like, all right, I only feel comfortable throwing the fastball.
Nobody else warming in the pen now. This is up to Nicasio to get out of the 7th.
Friendly confines of Wrigley Field don't feel real friendly right now to Don Mattingly, the Dodgers, and Juan Nicasio on the mound.
Lefty Starlin Castro is next, then Chris Coghlan. On 3-0. 3-1, 94 right down Broadway.
Yeah, that was down the middle, and that's exactly why Montero took a swing at it. I mean, that was something that hitters are looking for, want. He just took a huge swing and swung underneath it.
The Dodgers nursing a 4-2 lead. Castro on deck. Into left field. Van Slyke is there. And the Dodgers can exhale. No runs, 1 hit, 1 walk, 2 left. We go to the 8th. And it'll be Rollins, Van Slyke, and Kike Hernandez coming up. Brought to you by your Southern California Kia dealers. Visit mysocalkia.com to learn more. Well, Juan Nicasio got into and out of trouble by getting Miguel Montero to fly to left with 2 on and 2 out. Clayton Kershaw seeing how the other half lives. I don't think he's ever going to need it. Sitting with A.J. Ellis, his battery mate last night. Jimmy Rollins here in the 8th inning. And the Cubs have the shift on. So here's Justin Grimm, who merely struck out the side in the 7th inning. Rollins has bounced out and lined out. One and one to Jimmy Rollins. Jimmy in his last at bat whistled a line drive to left field. Caught by Chris Coughlin, a shoestring catch. Hit it right on the button, and Jimmy just looking for some kind of a sign to start getting real hot.
I hope he sticks with the same process of going to the opposite way. Definitely the weakest part of the defense now, the way everybody defends him.
So now the count is full. And again, the sense of urgency with which the Dodgers are playing tonight. Bolsinger goes 4 2/3, and Hal, Peralta, Liberatore, Nicasio. Well, it's still plenty early to be sure, but there's a big time feel to this game as Rollins goes down on strikes, and Grimm has struck out 4 in a row.
Well, Justin Grimm has been absolutely nasty with that slider. We've seen a couple of guys strike out. We saw Andre Ethier strike out in the same slider. It started off in the strike zone, and then late getting to the plate, the bottom drops out of it.
Yeah, that's 6 in a row for the Dodgers as far as striking out.
Russell struck out the last 2 batters of the 6th. Grimm has struck out the first 4.
that he has faced. Van Slyke, his first at-bat came in part of a double switch. Drills one into the left field corner, and it is a fair ball. And so Van Slyke arrives at second base with a double, and that's the first hit for the Dodgers since an infield hit by Andre Ethier back in the fourth inning.
Well, Justin Grimm has been attacking hitters, looking for the ball away on the inner half. Van Slyke does a good job bringing those hands in to barrel that one up. Justin's been with that, the velocity on that fastball has been about 96 miles an hour. So using those quick hands of Van Slyke to hit it down the line.
Well, here's Chris Bosio. He invites the entire infield in for a good long listen. Bosio was a tough hombre.
Yeah, he really helps the Cubs pitchers with the mentality of pitching and being tough and mentally disciplined. I'll tell you what, Nomar, another one of those tack-on run key RBI situations.
Yes. It would be huge here, especially as you're going down to the late innings. That 3-run lead is a lot different when you're going to your bullpen and going, okay, just one mistake or one guy gets on and you're a mistake away from a tie ball game.
Kike Hernandez 0 for 3 tonight, takes a strike, 0-1. Leading off tonight was Hernandez. Howie Kendrick with the night off. Kendrick's been struggling on the road in particular. Nothing in 2. When Matt Garza was traded to the Texas Rangers near the trade deadline 2 years ago, Mike Olt and Grimm were acquired. So that's one of those trades you need a couple of years for to kind of settle down and see really what you get. Garza was a short-term acquisition for Texas. They wanted to beef it up. Cubs are in the process of rebuilding, and here he is on 0-2 to Kike Hernandez. Rizzo.
It's always interesting to see the multiple timelines that are involved in trades. You got some people want the short-term fix, some people looking for the future and wanting minor leaguers, some people trying to jettison salary, some not afraid to take on salary.
Joe Madden is going to come and get Grimm. Edwin Jackson, the one-time Dodger, will pitch here with 2 out. Van
question to both of you. Grimm was lights out. 24 pitches, 13 strikes, 4 strikeouts. The Van Slyke double, then he gets Hernandez to foul out. And here is Edwin Jackson. What do you suppose Madden is thinking?
24 pitches from Grimm. I think he's thinking about a day game tomorrow, and he'd like to have him available. So he was at the point of no return. If he'd let him face Jock, not available tomorrow. And since this is a losing situation as of right now for the Cubs, and tomorrow possibly a winning situation where he brings him in, he's going to Jackson.
And Peterson takes high, 1 ball, no strikes. Peterson has struck out, walked, and bounced back to the box.
Here's that 2-out RBI situation we talked about before the game. Really can give the Dodgers a boost in those last couple of innings.
Dodgers a boost and maybe a knife in the Cubs' heart.
Yep.
Jackson signed a 4-year deal with the Cubs a couple of years back. He's got another year to go after this. They thought he was going to be a starter. There's a strike, 2-1. Came up with the Dodgers in 2003.
He was playing for Joe Madden back in Tampa Bay.
From the Dodgers to the Rays. Tigers, Diamondbacks, White Sox, Cardinals, Nationals, and now the Cubs. So here's Jock Peterson with an important insurance run. Scott Van Slyke at second base. 2-2. The shift on for Peterson. Jock with 19 home runs, 36 runs batted in. Justin Turner on deck. The 2-2. Foul back. Turner with a big 3-run home run back in the 3rd inning. That's the last time the Dodgers scored any runs. A solo home run for Gonzalez in the 2nd. The 3-run shot for Turner in the 3rd. And Van Slyke at second base. The only hit since the 4th. Blocked by Montero. Works the count full.
Well, we were talking about Yasmani Grandal, the way he's been able to block the ball behind home plate. Nice technique by Montero.
This is that situation where you don't want Jock swinging for the fences, right, Noam? You're just looking for a line drive, touch some outfield grass.
Unless you did the swing and the approach, and the count was 0-0.
And now it's 3-2 with 2 outs, so Van Slyke will be off with the crack of the bat. Peterson 246 on the year, 255 with runners in scoring position, and the 3-2. Lined into right field for a base hit. Here comes Van Slyke. Throw to the plate is up the line, and in to score is Van Slyke. A 2-out RBI single to right by Jock Peterson, and the Dodgers lead 5-2.
Well, we were talking about it. Big situation here, big RBI out there, big opportunity for the Dodgers, and he gets one over the middle of the plate, and he's able to pull it. He crushes it. It was one of those where you had to hold your breath because he hit it so hard, and they definitely had a chance at Van Slyke at home plate, but Van Slyke hustling all around, the ball up the line, and he scores easily.
And so the Dodgers come up with a big run to lead it now by 3. A 2-out RBI single to right for Jock Peterson, his 37th run batted in. Turner a 3-run home run back in the 3rd. Gonzalez on deck. And so we didn't second guess, we first guessed. Why did they take out Grimm to replace Edwin Jackson?
They're looking to the future, that being the day game tomorrow. Looks like as of right now, you could say it cost him a run. Who knows if Jock would have got the hit off of Grimm, but Grimm was throwing the ball very well.
Turner breaks his bat, then grounds to second, and that is that in the 8th. But a Van Slyke double, a 2-out single to right for Jock Peterson has given the Dodgers a 5-2 lead as we go to the home half of the 8th. Right now at Dodgers.com/vote. Voting is exclusively online this season and available on your computer, tablet, and smartphone. Vote up to 35 times at Dodgers.com/vote. Gonzalez with the big 3-run home run tonight. I'm sorry, as a solo home run. It was Justin Turner with the 3-run home run. And Jock Peterson with the RBI single. Scoring Van Slyke and Nicasio. This is his inning. There's nobody at the moment warming up in the Dodger bullpen. And Starlin Castro late in games has been terrific. Hitting .264 on the year, about 50 points better late in games. So Nicasio pitched a third of an inning in the 7th, gave up a hit. With 2 on and 2 out, Montero flied to left. There's a strike.
Finger must be feeling okay for Juan Nicasio. Back-to-back sliders there to start the inning off.
Jimmy Rollins throws out Castro by a step.
Make that 3 sliders in a row. The last one a real dandy right there, making it look like a fastball down the middle and broke it to the outside corner.
But now the Dodgers are at the point of counting outs. They've got 5 outs left before they can put away the Cubs and get ready for tomorrow. Back with you tomorrow at 11 o'clock Pacific. Carlos Frias and John Lester. So it's not going to get any easier for the Dodgers. Coughlin 0 for 2 and a walk, takes a strike, 0-1. Tomorrow will be interesting with Lester going. The Dodgers have fewer stolen bases than any team in baseball by a lot. And John Lester has this little issue about throwing to first base.
And everybody knows about it.
And what was fascinating is nobody knew about it until he got here. Never heard about any of that kind of thing in Boston. Caesar on deck. Casio misses 1 and 2. But that's tomorrow. Coughlin at 249 takes under the knees. 2 and 2. Well, they're expecting rain tonight, and it's held off. Nicasio on 2 and 2 to Chris Coughlin.
There's been a few times in this game where the Dodgers could exhale. I think the first home run by Adrian Gonzalez was an exhale. The home run by Justin Turner, the 3-run job, was an exhale. And I think there'll be a big exhale if Juan Nicasio can get through this inning with a 0. And they're handing the ball to Kenley Jansen.
But he walks Coughlin with 1 out. And Matt Caesar coming up.
And this is where that tack-on run when Jock Peterson drove in Scott Van Slyke is huge, because that walk now doesn't bring the tying run to the plate.
Jonathan Herrera in the on-deck circle to pinch hit Edwin Jackson. Caesar. Nothing in 1. Dodgers 5-2. Grounded to third. Turner. Hernandez, double play, and the inning is over. Nicely turned. Kike Hernandez, effortless pivot at second base from the strong throw of Turner. We go to the 9th. Adrian Gonzalez will lead it off. Post-mortem of Nicasio's inning and a third. Gave up no runs, 1 hit, and 1 walk, and induced Matt Caesar to bounce into an inning-ending double play. As Yervis Medina. A newcomer to the Cubs. And it's going to be Adrian Gonzalez, Alberto Callaspo to pinch hit, and then Andre Ethier. Dodgers would dearly love to tack on another run. Kenley Jansen warming in the pen. The Dodgers 5-2. Solo home run for Gonzalez in the second, a 3-run shot for Turner in the third, a 2-out RBI single to right by Jock Peterson, scoring Scott Van Slyke. The 27th game for the Dodgers in a span of 34 games in 34 days. Next day off is a week from tomorrow. And through the first 26 games of this bumpy part of the marathon, the Dodgers are 11-15. They've lost 7 of 9. They've struggled on the road, and so this is a big game, and Mattingly's been managing like it was a playoff game. Rizzo to Medina, first out of the 9th. So Kenley Jansen will be the 6th Dodger pitcher of the night. They used 6 last night. No rest for the weary. Back again first thing tomorrow. And 3 in Miami and 3 in Arizona.
Kenley will have a little easier task tonight. Yesterday came in with bases loaded, no out, trying to rescue the extra inning game.
But 5 infielders, 2 outfielders, and a sac fly did him in. He did his part. Peralta struggled last night, but tonight Peralta comes in, pitched 2/3 of an inning, and retired both batters he faced. Into center field for a base hit. Alberto Callaspo has been really solid since coming to the Dodgers. He's hitting .300.
Callaspo comes in, just gets a fastball down the middle and just stays with it. I mean, that's the definition of not trying to do too much with it. Doesn't get too big, just makes solid contact and drives it back up the middle.
Charlie, you spoke about his stats being well since he became a Dodger. They've really worked hard with him. John Valentin and Mark McGuire on some of the mechanics in the batter's box.
It appears to be working, whatever they're doing. Ethier takes a strike. Of course, the Dodgers are waiting for Hector Olivera, but he is now on the disabled list. Hamstring issue. They don't believe it's a big long time issue, but remember, he has not played on a regular basis for more than a year. Started Double-A and was doing well at Oklahoma City.
It sounds like it's more of an endurance issue, that the hamstring fatigue done him.
Ethier fouls it off.
And he knows the plan in the back of his mind is to try and get to the big leagues as soon as possible. He wants to play here, and the Dodgers want him to play here, and he knew about the plan of moving the different levels and getting ready.
And he's hit at all the levels. One ball and 2 strikes to Andre Ethier.
Hard as an everyday player, Nomar, to know that in the back of your mind that you're trying to get ready to get to the big leagues where you want to be, to take that day off maybe when that hamstring maybe just a little tight, maybe you push it too far.
And they're talking about it being, a mild strain. So they probably thinking to themselves that, well, if we put him on the DL now, it almost forces him not to feel that way, not to try to push it too much and really make it a bigger issue. So hopefully it'll just take the 15 days, and that's all it would take for him to be healed to 100% and then continue his path up here.
Grandal on deck. Callaspo leads from first, and Ethier fouls it over the Dodger dugout and into the stands. So they've got that tenuous line for Oliveira. They want to get him here as soon as possible so that when he gets here, he can be here as long as possible. He's 30 years old and was a great hitter on the international scene for Cuba. And didn't take long for him to move from AA to AAA. Dodgers tonight, 5 runs and 7 hits. Cubs 2 runs and 8 hits. Ethier takes high, throw down to first. Callaspo back. On 3-2, Callaspo's going, and Ethier with a fly ball into center field straight away. Caesar's there. And now Yasmani Grandal coming up. Grandal tonight's been quiet, 0 for 3. Bounced out twice and has been struck out. Dodgers with the 5-2 lead. They're 30-4 this year when they score at least 4 runs. So history and the score on their side tonight. Grandal went around. And it's 0-2. Kenley Jansen is warm and ready, hoping for his 10th save of the year. There he is. Be a pinch hitter for the Cubs, probably Jonathan Herrera, Addison Russell, and then Chris Denorfia. Get out of that, they're in business. Then after them, Rizzo, Bryant, and Montero.
That's what we're used to right there. He's Yasmani Grandal fighting off a pitcher's pitch, and that's what Mark McGuire and John Valentin preached, Don Mattingly, about just having tough at bats, really being a tough out. And here, even up by 3, could kind of just phone this at bat in. Up there battling with 2 strikes.
The 1-2. Meanwhile, at AT&T Park, the Giants have a 5-0 lead. The Padres are hitting in the top of the 4th. The Dodger lead over San Francisco is 1. Grandal takes ball strike 3, and that is it. Grandal not happy, and the inning is over. So here comes Kenley Jansen in search of his 10th save, trying to nurse a 5-2 lead across the finish line. Dodgers go behind the scenes as Clayton Kershaw reunites with high school friends during the recent series against the Rangers deep in the heart of Texas. Plus, catch a foosball showdown between Adrian Gonzalez and radio host David Vassegh. Don't miss Backstage Dodgers tomorrow night at 7 right here on Sportsnet LA. So here's Kenley Jansen. His 14th appearance in search of his 10th save. Hasn't walked anybody this year. Has struck out 22 and 12 2/3, and opponents are hitting under 100 against him.
Whatever he did on the rehab, Stan Conti and he got him right to the edge of being ready, and he has performed almost perfectly since being back.
The Dodgers have seen Herrera before, back when he played for the Rockies, and he takes a strike, 0-1. Herrera 2 for 7 against Kenley Jansen, and 2 for 10 as a pinch hitter this year with Chicago. One and one to Jonathan Herrera. Addison Russell on deck, and then Kristen Orfield. Outfield shallow except for Ethier in right. A high chopper. Jansen gets him. Some fancy footwork by the 4-time Gold Glove winner Adrian Gonzalez. Wow, what a play.
I'm up here saying, wow, that was just a tremendous play by Jansen. One, getting to this ball and recognize, all right, he's throwing off the run here and trying to throw around the runner. And as a first baseman, you're going, I don't know what angle this ball is coming at. You know the runner's coming at you. And he does a fine job recognizing where the runner is, the ball, and getting out of the way over there by Adrian Gonzalez. Just a tremendous play all around.
You notice that Kenley Jansen reverted back to his roots. An ex-catcher threw it right from his ear.
Now Addison Russell, who's 2 for 3. If they don't make the play, if there's an error or infield hit, that changes the whole dynamic and vibe of the bottom of the ninth. So now the Dodgers 2 outs away. Russell at 256. And the count is 0-2. Dodgers lead at 5-2, 1 out, nobody on. Bottom half of the ninth. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
It was a good job by Kenley Jansen there, because we saw him come in yesterday, and then so far today it's just been that cutter. And I was wondering, I go, you know, wouldn't it be bad just trying to show a slider here just to get them thinking. Doesn't always have to be a strike, but just let them know that he's willing to throw it.
Russell at 256. Takes a breath. Now he's back in. And Jansen's 7th pitch of the ninth. Two and 2. Four strikes, 3 balls thrown by Kenley Jansen. The 6th Dodger pitcher of the night. 2 out. For Kenley Jansen, his 23rd strikeout of the year. Hasn't walked anybody.
Pretty good ratio, strikeouts to walks. Goes with the bigger of the two cutters, 82 miles an hour. It actually might be really a hard slider for Kenley.
So now the Dodgers an out away. Denorfia 1 for 4. Takes inside and low, 1 ball and no strikes. Denorfia 1 home run, 8 runs batted in. 10th pitch. Drilled into the left field corner. Well hit. Off the base of the wall. The Cubs keep it alive, or do they? Gunned down by Scott Van Slyke. A perfect strike. The tag out by Kike Hernandez. A helpless Chris Denorfia hoping for a replay. And there will be.
Well, Joe Madden immediately popped out of the dugout and asked for the replay.
Either way, what a throw by Scott Van Slyke.
The Dodgers caught a break when the ball hits off the garage door out in left field, so it caromed very briskly back to Scott Van Slyke. The ball is scorched out there, but watch it carom right off the garage door and bam, right to Scott, and he turns and fires an accurate strike. Denorfia with a wraparound slide. Looks like he might have got the left hand in there before the tag gets him in the chest.
The fans here at Wrigley Field are watching what you are.
Boy, it's going to be close.
I think he gets that hand in there. I don't know unless does that arm get his arm, like his bicep area, before
it looks
he
like
gets his hands in there?
Yeah, it
right?
looks like it's supposed to get in there, but it doesn't because the arm starts to fold up before it touches the bag. It's a lot closer on that one angle.
And I'll tell you what, Denorfia also does a good job staying on the bag even after that. After he slides, we see guys often come off the bag just for a second as they slide in head first.
That center field angle right there looks like he's safe. The angle from low third looks like he's out.
Jordan Baker, the young umpire, is nearly 6'8". Jerry Meals, the crew chief, this is his crew, he's 5'8".
Yeah, I'm just wondering if they happen to get that bicep there before he gets in there. If that glove happens to, get the shirt or something. That's what they're going to be looking at closely. Like right there before he gets that hand there.
From that angle, we can't tell.
Right.
Let's see if this is any better. Got him.
Yeah, you can't tell there if he gets it. I mean, that's.
Well, Jordan Baker looming over that play like the Empire State Building. And all everybody can do now is wait. And wait some more.
I see what you're saying, Nomar, about the glove maybe touching the left bicep as the arm's reaching in, not really the chest. The first part of the tag might be the bicep.
Almost where the Cub emblem is on his shirt.
It was Baker's call. It is Meals' crew.
And they're taking their time because that's telling me they're wondering if there is enough evidence here to turn this overturn it. And once again, there's a delay out here with the pitcher on the mound, and Madden has nothing to do with it. It's a replay.
The Dodgers are asking themselves, can we go home now?
Right.
And the game is over. It took a while to get there, but the Dodgers win on a tremendous throw by Scott Van Slyke. Kenley Jansen records his 10th save of the year. The Dodgers improve their record to 40-33. 5 runs, 7 hits, no errors for the Dodgers. The Cubs 2 runs, 9 hits, and no errors. Now it's time for the Lexus play of the game in the 3rd inning. Justin Turner's 3-run shot. Dodgers would lead 4-0. Cubs would come up with 2 in the 5th. Then the Dodgers tack on an important insurance run in the 8th, improving their record to 40-33. So that's a wrap for us from Wrigley Field. For Alana Rizzo, Nomar Garcia-Parra, Oral Hershiser, Charlie Steiner saying good night and goodbye. We'll see you tomorrow morning. But for now, we send it back to Access Sportsnet Dodgers, brought to you by Nissan.